All right, our transfer series rolls on. Welcome back to Orange Crush, presented by TigerNet. I'm Grayson Mann alongside David Hood, and we have with us Christian Reeves, former Duke basketball player, now Clemson Tiger. Christian, welcome to the show, man, and welcome to this series. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. So, Christian, the one thing that I want to start with you is sort of the initial process and sort of I think what caught a lot of people's attention, and it's a four-letter word, and it's Duke going, oh my gosh, like the perception of a Duke player coming to Clemson. I had a lot of friends tell me like that means something to them, that they don't necessarily keep up with basketball, but that Duke basketball mantra really sticks out. So for you to come to Clemson, what was sort of that process like, and just the initial part with the transfer portal?
Yeah, in the portal, I wanted to make sure I took my time with it. In high school, I mean, you hear Duke, and I committed on the spot, which I don't regret. But that's just how that process went for me the first time. So, and obviously, you don't know what you don't know going in as a freshman. So I think I learned a lot at Duke. And kind of took the things that I learned there and looked for what was most important to me in the portal and tried to apply it as best as I could to the process. And Clemson hit a lot of those checklists, so it just made sense.
Christian, when you're a top five player in the state of North Carolina, like you were, you got a lot of people in your ear all the time, I'm sure, saying, "Hey, it's got to be Duke. Hey, it's got to be North Carolina." Maybe less or so, "Hey, stay home and go to Wake or NC State or whatever." But what was that recruiting process like? Considering that they're close to your home, you've got two of those major powers, and everybody's always yapping at you about it.
Yep. Honestly, growing up, I was a UNC fan, which is kind of crazy fact. But I would say like my freshman year, that's kind of like when the tide changed for me, and I was just like, it's college. I kind of feel like I need to make the decision that makes the most sense for me. And when I went to Oak Hill, kind of got wind that they might be offering at a certain point, and they said, "Is that where you're going to go if they offer you?" And I said, "Yes." So it was pretty simple for me in high school. I did have some other interests and stuff like that, and if I with what I did at Oak Hill, I think I could have gotten some more offers if I waited a little bit longer, but I just thought Duke was a place for me at the time. So that made the most sense for me going there.
When you look at your time at Duke, Christian, and now with how your journey is sort of shaped and progressed, what are some of the lessons that you're taking from your initial stages of college basketball, playing at a high pedigree program like Duke, and now coming to a program that has a lot of potential and in a lot of people's eyes is a program that's on the rise that has just made a historic run in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing I've kind of learned in my time there, being around a bunch of like high level guys and pros coming back is just kind of the process. You kind of get used to the process, and I think a big thing that you kind of find out is what you need to do to be ready at when the fall comes around, or kind of gets that point that you want to be at, because obviously you're going to grow some more when the games come around, but the past 2 years, I've learned a lot, and from that aspect, even with the injuries, just what it kind of takes to get back. Because I had surgery after my first season, so I know what the process is kind of like. And then just being in the ACC and seeing how a scout works, or kind of learning as a freshman, okay, stuff we're doing now actually matters, even if it's just 3-0 or something like that. So I would say a lot of things, you come with a different perspective. Being a transfer rather than being a freshman. So you kind of learn a little bit more.
So you enter the transfer portal, and I'm sure it didn't take too long for that phone to start ringing absolutely off the hook. How many schools do you think contacted you?
Um, I don't know. There were a lot of schools that contacted me. I would say probably had probably like two waves of schools that I was like really considering. So I'd say like there was an initial five and then like a second four, which ended up being my final four. So I would say that was pretty much how it went for me.
So what stood out about Clemson? What is it about Clemson that resonated with Christian?
One thing that was really important with me was, I mean, the relationship piece. And they recruited me out of high school a little bit, so I already had that kind of bond and trust there. I talked to some former players, like PJ Hall, Trey Jamison, who transferred out, but he's playing for the Grizzlies right now. So I talked to some former guys, and they all had good things to say about Clemson, so I helped out as well. All had good things to say about Coach Brunell, and that was a big thing for me. And then, it's close to home, close to my sister. So it just made sense.
It's interesting, Christian, with how I sort of basketball sort of viewed is that the NBA and college basketball feel like different games right now. The NBA feels a lot more spaced out, and we just saw in the Final Four two teams in Purdue and UConn, their best players dominating. They're over 7 feet and they're dominating from inside. So when I looked at how Clemson sort of attacked it with you, is obviously the thing 7 over 7 feet sticks out. Was that something that maybe Brownell touched on when he talked about what his vision was for you here? And what was that vision specifically?
Yeah, I mean, even for me, it wasn't as much about that. But if you just look at the teams in the past, they always go inside. I mean, I was watching film, and no matter what game you pick, I mean, the Clemson's going inside all the time, so you know you're going to get the chance to touch the ball. So I think that was just the style of play was big, and I think I can fit into that. I think I can kind of fit into any system, really, just given a little bit of time. But that was big for me.
So, in looking at you coming in, obviously the plan is let's get him healthy,
Hmm.
100%, and then build you up a little bit, maybe add a little size, a little bit of bulk. What is your target right now? And saying, this is where I want to be when the season starts, and then this is eventually where I want to get to.
Yep. As far as like weight,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean. Honestly, I feel pretty good around where I'm at right now. I'm going to continue to get stronger, but you can get stronger and stay around the same weight. So I'd say that's probably
sure.
my goal right there. Because I like to be able to move. That's a big part of my game. So I don't want to lose any of that. So that's one thing.
And then, excuse me, Grayson, let me do this. I was joking with you before we came on the video here. I saw you in camp last week, and a lot of times it's like, hey, this guy's 6'10", and he's 5'11". You're a legit 7-footer. Were
Yep.
you always the tallest kid in your class? At what point did you start growing? Were you 6'5" in eighth grade? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, nah, I've always been like the tallest in my class since I was born, really. I mean, like the funny story that sticks out to me is like I got like a kindergarten graduation picture, and I was like almost as tall as the teacher. So, uh, yeah, that was pretty funny. But I mean, I would say I hit like 6 foot around sixth grade, and then probably got to 7 foot somewhere in high school. I don't remember exactly when, but I've been around the same size for a while now. So yeah, I've been pretty tall for a good minute.
Let me just make sure I heard that correctly. You said 6 feet in the sixth grade?
Yeah.
Life's just not fair for me. I'm not even, I'm out of a college, Christian, and I am not even scratching 6 feet. So it feels good, I'm sure. It reminds me when you said the picture of you being as tall as the kindergarten teacher. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen the movie Elf, but it's at the beginning where Will Ferrell's like he's not even in frame because he's so
Yes.
tall
Yeah,
compared to
yeah,
everybody else. But Christian, what really is interesting about sort of the process for you and how everything is sort of playing out is we talked to Jaden earlier this morning, and something that stuck out to him is that they've seen Clemson a ton playing in the
yeah.
ACC, and some of the things we get to tell us some of the things that stuck out to him, their connectivity, just sort of
Mhm.
how they play basketball. It's one thing when we talked to Miles saying he's watched it on TV, but for you, you got to see it up close.
Yep.
And so, what sort of stuck out to you? Obviously, with hindsight, you're here now, but when you're just sort of taking them in from a scouting perspective or trying to prep for them, what really
Yep.
stuck out to you as how to play their style of ball?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like being at Duke, like I mean, you beat Duke, obviously, like it's a pretty big, thing usually. So, but they beat us when I was at Duke my freshman year here, and then had a chance to win it last year. It was a pretty close game. Came down to a foul call. So, I mean, that's obviously like pretty impressive. Like obviously, I guess like goal. So, that was something
Was
that
it the correct call?
like
I don't think he's
I'll,
legally allowed to answer that.
I'll plead the fifth on that one. I don't know. I'll plead the fifth on that one. But yeah. So just being like a competitive team, and then you see all their other big wins that happen in the ACC just watching basketball. So I think just and then the Elite Eight run. So they're a competitive team. That's something that's important to me. Helping winning on a competitive team. And then from a scouting perspective, I mean like the bigs are a point of emphasis on the scouts. So you know that they're really going to them. You know that they're really working hard and making an impact on the game. Whether it's offensive rebounds or duck ins, which we've seen a lot of the duck ins so far in practice and stuff so far. So that's been good.
We know about the guys that are gone, like PJ Hall and Joe Girard and those guys. But is there one of your current teammates that when you kind of watched them from the other side, you go, I'd like to play with that guy, or man, that guy really impresses me. I love his game.
I mean, all of these guys, honestly, just being here, just a style of play. I think it's everybody touches the ball, everybody gets inside, takes good shots. That's just what you look for in a team. So say everybody.
When we talk to some of the other transfers, one of the themes is that, hey, this is their last run, or we look at guys like Brevin Galloway or Joe Girard, where they had 1 year left and they came in and it was all or nothing for that year. But for you, it's a little differently in sort
Yep.
of how your timeline plays out. Just what do you sort of envision your basketball like? Maybe like you have a goal, maybe there's something you're just taking one day at a time, but what do you sort of envision yourself as your career for Clemson?
Yeah, so I'm a redshirt sophomore right now, so I have 3 years left. Just taking it a step at a time. Really, honestly, I haven't been thinking too far ahead. Just trying to take it day by day and get back healthy and get ready for the season. So that's been my mindset this far.
There, Brad Brownell loves to play defense, and obviously having a guy with your length on the inside kind of plays into that. But do you embrace that defensive concept of kind of being the enforcer in the middle of saying, hey, the lane's mine, don't bring
Yep.
it in here? Do you
Yeah,
like
no,
that?
for sure. I mean, being able to block shots and rebound, that's a cool stat too. You can get a double double off of that, so or a triple double. So that's definitely something a part of my game that I love and like to make an impact that way too. It's not all about scoring. So
Was there ever a time where were you close to a double double with blocks at any
uh,
point in your basketball career?
I've been close with the triple double a few times in high school, and we were blowing the team out, so I didn't get to finish out the game. The coach sat me for the fourth quarter. So, but I've been close a few times, but I never got to finish that one out. So.
I want to go back just for a second. You got to play in what might be the best college basketball rivalry in Duke and North Carolina, but have these Clemson guys told you about, hey, this is who we like to beat. This is what our rivalry is all about.
I mean, from what I can tell so far, I feel like the South Carolina one's a pretty big one. Then obviously ACC is just ACC basketball. So I don't know if one's been like emphasized right now, but I've heard a little bit here and there about some of the games. So I'm excited.
One of the things that's really fascinating is the one of the themes for this series has been obviously with transfer portals, you got to sell them quick on the program so they can get things rolling. Sort of what was Brownell's sales pitch? We talked to Jake earlier about how the pitch was a little different for him because Clemson didn't have they were coming off of a season where they didn't make the NCAA tournament. This summer, you're able to be like, hey, Christian, this is a team that just made the Elite Eight. You could be one of those missing pieces to get them to the Final Four. And instead of falling to Alabama, Mark Sears, it's Clemson's going to the Final Four to play UConn. What was that sales pitch that Brownell initially pitched over to you?
Yep. I would say one thing that just stuck out to me on my visit was that one question I asked Coach was on your teams that have made it far, what's like the biggest thing that you've noticed? And he said a good big, we need a good big that's reliable every game. You know what you're going to get from him, and I think I have the ability to do that in my time here at Clemson. So that was something big. Other than that, we took something as small as like a personality test, and he kind of like broke it down to me, and he said, "Hey, like this is why I think you did this in your past for a reason or something like that, just based off the personality test." And I thought overall it's pretty accurate. And he said he only goes after certain guys, and I've seen that in in the past. I think he's very selective with who he recruits. He only recruits guys that he thinks can fit into the system. So I think that was a big thing for me as well. Trying to think if there was like there was one more point, but those are the main two that are popping in my mind right now.
With this team and talking to the transfers, one thing I've noticed is you guys all have great personalities. Uh, the team already has some big personalities with Chase and Dylan, and Chef is just out there driving his Corvette and doing his thing. Do you feel like this group already has built in some chemistry, and that will play well going into the season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're hanging out with each other all the time. I feel like I've been here for a while already. We go out to eat together. Like we went to eat yesterday after in the afternoon. So I feel like we spend a lot of time with each other already, and I know that's going to keep continuing to grow. So I do feel like we built up a good amount of chemistry, and I think it'll carry over to the court.
One of the we keep alternating from question to question on sort of themes, but Christian, you've obviously been on campus for a short time, but is there something that sticks out to you when you've begun to assimilate yourself in this community? Because when we asked Joe Girard last year, it was like, what really stuck out in his Clemson experience? He talked about people leaving food at his doorstep when he had
Mhm.
just initially arrived. Sort of, is there anything that is comparable to that, or just sort of the interactions you've had with the Clemson community? What has that been like so far?
Yep. I mean, you see the Pauls all around when you're driving and stuff, and that's kind of new to me. So just seeing the Paul and everything is crazy, in my opinion. Think is it the Smoking Pig? Is that
Yeah,
the
Smoking
restaurant?
pig.
Yeah.
I
So
was
I
waiting
went.
for someone to say it. I was waiting for
Yeah.
someone to say it.
So I think I went there after I committed, but I came back down for like a photo shoot and to look at like the apartments and stuff and get that situation figured out. And I went there and they gave me and my family some extra food and said you got to try this out. So I'd say that's my like experience similar to Joe Girard. But yeah, everybody's been super welcoming. Can't ask for anything better. So I really felt great here.
I'd say if you weren't committed to Clemson before you ate Smoking Pig, you would have committed on the spot after having that food.
And
It's
I do remember it from high school actually. I was probably the best food I had on one of my visits in high school. So yeah, no, it stuck out for sure.
Are you a football fan at all? Clemson and Duke started last season playing in
Yep.
football, and Clemson will get going just ahead of you guys. Are you a football fan at all?
Yeah, no, I am. I am a football fan. I played football growing up. Got to like 6 foot, and then I realized it might not be for me. And the gym had some air conditioning. So yeah, I was like, Mom, I think this is my last year. So yeah, but no, I'm a big football fan. I like to watch football, play fantasy football with my friends and stuff. So I'm big on
Who's
it.
your favorite pro team?
The Panthers, yeah, Charlotte guy, so home team all the way.
There you go.
there we go.
Grayson, you ready to throw some rapid fire at this guy?
Oh, we're ready. We are ready. So, Christian, we already talked about Smoking Pig, but if there's another spot here in Clemson that you've tried or you were introduced to, what stuck out in terms of the big eats around this area?
Yeah, no, I've been to Osaka and Tokyo a lot. I've been to those places probably like over
So good.
five combined, probably like over 10 times, and I haven't been here for like a month. So
Oh
I
my
was,
goodness.
yeah, no, and I've been there with the guys. So yeah, it's a big one for me.
But so I have to ask, are you a sushi guy or are you getting more like the teriyaki chicken
Everything,
and steak? Yeah,
everything,
everything.
everything. Yeah, big Japanese food guy.
So what was it like working Brad's camp and having all those, little guys looking up to you and talking all the time and asking questions?
Yeah, no, it was fun. A new experience for me because we got to, coach our own team. So
Right.
that was a new one. I think I was undefeated up until day 4, which was the last day. But I had a good team, and they made me trade some players away. So I had to lose some players, and then we lost on the last day. But I enjoyed the camp a lot, and it was fun getting to work with the kids and stuff like that. So.
What is
So now,
Coach Reeves? What's your
that's
coaching style?
yeah.
Uh, it was 5th and 6th, so pretty much just play defense, rebound, and push it. Try to get a layup. If you get an open shot, take it. If you don't take the open shot, I'm taking you out the game. So I feel like that was a pretty easy guy to play for. I want you to
You've
shoot the
you,
ball.
you've coached the fifth and sixth grade, so maybe one day you can coach the Lakers if you start a podcast. Who knows?
I don't know
I
about
have to
that.
ask, what size shoe do you wear?
17.
So did any of your size 17s walk out the door with any of those campers? I know a lot of shoes did make it out.
Yeah, no, I think I gave away 2 pairs. So yeah, yeah. I think I was getting asked about it like all at camp, and I was like, if you guys beat me in rock, paper, scissors, I'll give you a pair of shoes. And nobody got me. And then the last day, somebody finally got me. So I gave that kid a pair. And then I gave the pair I was wearing to some other kids. So yeah.
That's good.
All right. Well,
Christian, if there's a player, and we've asked a couple of the guys this, either a throwback player or a player that you watch now that you sort of try to model your game after, who would that be?
It's a good one. I like 80 around the basket. I like watching him a lot. I like watching a lot of guys that play out of pick and roll, like to roll to the basket. I mean, Bam's been expanding his game a lot, but I like how Bam plays out of the pick and roll and just gets to the basket. I watched some film on him. A lot of NC guys actually like that. I watched some of their like stuff in college maybe or high school. So But yeah, like Harry Giles and Bam, those are like two big ones that pop into my head for that. So yeah.
Perfect, man. We appreciate this. Everybody's looking forward to the season. I know that the goal is to make it back to the NCAA tournament and make a run, and we're excited to see what you can do out on the court. And we appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great interview. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.